backwards. That's good, I like that. What I would like to talk about is some of the things that you will see in practice and how your patients can actually inspire you. They can teach you lessons. Sometimes they can just maybe make you take yourself a little less seriously. Like the one time I was setting up on the side posture and I'm really focused, I'm present, and this little girl comes up and says, Dr. Don. And I'm like, this. She goes, and it reminded me of, you know the movie The Grinch's Stole Christmas? Did you ever see that little girl right when he's going to take the tree and shove it up into the chimney? And she goes, Dr. Don, why are you lying on my bunk? And I'm like, I don't know if you say the narcissist. Other people, or other practice members, become a lot more significant in your life. And I want to talk about one in particular, and his name is Rob. Rob came to me 7 years ago as a patient. He was a great patient. He followed through the care. He wanted to change his life, improve his health. He was a patient with us. And after a year under care, we started, we had that table talk. We knew we jived pretty good. He came up to me one day and said, you know what? You and Brandy seem fun. Would you like to go golfing with me and my wife? And I said, seemed like a pretty nice guy. And I said, yeah, sure, maybe we can go golfing someday. He comes back, calls to the office 1 hour later. Tea time's booked Sunday, 1 o'clock. I'm like, ooh. So we go golfing, and we made a really great connection. And from that time forward, we became pretty close to best friends. He was one of my best friends. We would go on Friday night date nights, where me and Brandy would meet us out at restaurants. In the winter for New Year's, we'd always go ride our bowls up in the mountains in Banff, Alberta, Canada, which is very beautiful. In the summer, we go to our vacation spot. We have a house on a golf course in BC where we love to golf. And we become excellent friends. And I was very grateful for that. Then, about 5 years ago, he started having this recurring pain in his forearm. And he's like, no, Jesus, it's like a numb, weird pain. And I was a little bit, it's kind of, well, we'll see what it is. And nothing would help him. I started researching it more and more. I actually referred him to a lot of other chiropractors that I knew. Upper cervical, cord specific, like I tried everything. And I couldn't figure out what it was. Then, I think it was in March of '99, or it was in 2000, all of a sudden his TNR pad just disappeared. And I'm like, oh, that's not cool. And I actually talked to one of my mentors, Dr. MacDonald, and I happened to be hosting him in Edmonton, Alberta for a seminar close to the same time. So I said, can you meet us up for dinner? So I had Rob and his wife come out because, I'm like, I'm going to bring all the guns. I have all my smart people in my back pocket that they're all going to help me figure out if we can help this guy because he's one of my best friends. And I couldn't help him. We go for dinner. Dr. MacDonald, we're chatting, we're talking, and I was kind of like a little bit excited that we're going to find something. And on the ride home, before the ride home, he hadn't said anything, so we're in the car. And on the drive home, Mike said, I'm sorry, Don, but your buddy has atypical ALS. That was the one thing that I absolutely didn't want him to have. So, a year later, he was officially diagnosed just because it was an atypical onset because it came on so slow. So then what we decided to do is we still tried to keep our options open, so we tried a lot of different things to see if we could help. But we also wanted to face the reality that there's a 2 to 4 year life sentence of death because it's a fatal disease, basically 100% of the time. And I researched as much as I could, but I didn't find too many people that survive that. So we got the opportunity to do all these last physical things. And I don't know if you've ever had an opportunity to do this, but when you know someone's dying, and every time when you go skiing and you know that day will be the very last time that you ever skis, you go in with a lot of different perspective. You become a lot more present. The last time he swam, we were way more present. The last time we golfed, the last time you walked, the last time you talked. By the end, once he's lost all his physical ability, he then decided, now is time to create my legacy. Now, Rob was a good old boy. He was very fun to hang around socially, but we'd always come back from seminars all pumped up about changing the world. And he's kind of lackadaisical about it. And he regretted that, because at the end, when he couldn't move, he had basically 2 years left to leave his imprint on this world. And he did. And how he did it is he had to sit in a chair, paralyzed except for his eyes, blinking to his screen one letter at a time. And through Facebook, he had a following of thousands of people. He influenced more people in the last 2 years stuck in that wheelchair than he did in his whole life. And that taught me a lesson. And it's kind of what Eddie Diaz was talking about today, and it brought up the two hands. One is ourselves. This is about being present in the moment, enjoying our day, not taking things for granted. And the other one is to serve others, or what is our legacy. And we really want to work on both. Dr. Jill Marsh talked about purpose this morning. And I have a question for you, because this is the question I asked myself when I realized it. Is your purpose interesting, or is it activated? I always loved the movie Transformers. He talked about the spark. Everybody has a spark inside of you. Is it activated, or is it just interesting? Because if something's interesting, you'll get to it someday, or maybe not, but you won't take it that seriously. If it's activated, you do it immediately. Rob would have given anything. Actually, in the last probably week or so of his life, every night he would go to bed and hope that he wouldn't drown in his own spit. And he said that certain nights it felt like he was breathing through a straw, and he had to meditate and not panic for 6 hours because he wanted to stay alive, because he knew he'd be able to touch the lives of other people on his Facebook page. Now, I want to thank you for listening to my story, listening to Rob's story. And something really interesting I'll tell you really quick. He asked me to do his eulogy, which is really weird for someone actually to ask me to do a eulogy. And he died 6 weeks ago. And Billy, he brought out that bag for your brother. Rob, I got a text 2 hours ago. His wife just spread his ashes on the golf course that we love. Today's their anniversary. Today was the day they're spreading their ashes. I talked to her last week. We decided we're coming to this seminar because this is part of my activated purpose. He would rather me be here to share a story with you than be on a golf course spreading his ashes. So thank you.